What is going on, guys? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? My name is Deja Terry, and welcome to the Ellipsis Podcast. And if you are new, we always say welcome home, kick off your shoes, grab your notepads, grab your snacks, grab your pajamas, and get comfy because it's about to get good. And it really is about to get good because we're about to dive into what I was learning about at the Woman Evolve Conference 2023, 3 weeks ago. And it was on fire. It was amazing. It was everything that I could have dreamed of. And also it surpassed what I've dreamed of. And I wanted to kind of, drop some dimes on you real quick and give you, really some of those amazing notes. We talked about relationships, and as I've seen and I've talked to some of you who are subscribed, and you guys really want me to dive into relationships. And, we're not perfect. We go through ups and downs, of course, and everything else, but it's just so different how everybody is just going through so many different things when it comes to relationships, because it's an extent to our lives, And so one of the things that also happened we had a men's panel at this Woman Evolve conference, And so during that men's panel, there was so much said and so much that I'm going to dive into and give you the tea about if you missed it, for everybody who didn't get a chance to make it there. And if you haven't, y'all, please register for that. Woman Evolve 2023 was something with Sarah Jakes, Cheryl Brady, Anita Phillips. It was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. And it's for women. Sorry, guys, it is for women. But, and so, and to be honest with you, that men's panel was so good. It was so good, and it was for the women. I don't even want to drop those dimes here because it was just so good. I want to keep it for y'all only because, but yeah, I love y'all. So I'm gonna dish it all out because, you could listen to this podcast later with your spouse or somebody that you're with, and then y'all could agree. But, women, I was trying to keep it for us, but it's okay. But anyway, let's dive in. One of the things that you want to do in this situation, you just want to grab a journal. And you're going to write down these notes. And so these are just some of the things that when you are getting ready for your spouse, when you are getting ready to dive into a relationship, and commit and not just date around, no, don't make this list if you're just trying to date around and find you a good looking man for 2 seconds and then put him down. No, this is for, you are ready to dive into your purpose. You're ready for the extent of your purpose that requires a helpmate. You're ready to, commit to marriage. You're ready to fully give yourself into the relationship that God has for you. And so stepping into that, you want to write down these questions. And one of those questions is, what's reasonable to ask in a relationship and what is not? And so when you're writing your journal, write that. What's reasonable to ask in a relationship and what is not? And when you're writing that, I want you to remember, you cannot ask broken people to fix you. So when you are writing this list of what's reasonable to ask in a relationship and what is not, remember, you cannot ask broken people to fix you. And you don't ask them to cover what you should already be doing internally. So those are the things. So you shouldn't be looking for somebody to, spend time with God every day. You know what I mean? And then pray for you and carry you, and but you're not doing that for yourself. That's something you should already be doing for yourself. So that's just an example. But the next one is, what have I learned from relationships? And some of us keep journals, like I keep a few journals, and some of us, write down some of the things that you've been through. So if you have some journals that you have had those past relationships written down, and some of the things that you've been through and some of the things you've learned, go back and grab those, combine them, and then underneath that next question, what have I learned in relationships? Write down all those things and some things that you freshly remember currently. Some of the things that and I'll answer some of these questions for y'all since we're here. It'll probably be a long podcast today, but some of the things that I've learned from relationships is you have to have your own life, meaning you need to be taking care of yourself and not switching up your routine for somebody else, because they should be able to add to your routine, but not take away. And then you have to compromise. There should always be a give and a take. So if you have things to do, if you're going to the gym and you have homework to do, or you have your business that you have to tend to, you have your bills to pay, you have your event that you have to go host, etc., you should not be having to move those things around and change your life just to be able to fit somebody. They should be able to vibe and figure it out with you. Because, at the end of the day, you want to be able to have your single life still your single life, because you will always be single. Even in marriage, you are single. You want to have your own things going on. And so, and you want to be busy. And so, always have something to do. You should never just be sitting on your bed. Hey, what you doing? Oh, nothing. Just chilling, watching TV. Oh, what'd you do today? Well, I watched TV, got some ice cream. It's not attractive because you're not doing anything productive. So always be doing something, towards your purpose, towards your goals. And yeah, another thing that I think I've learned from relationships is just to learn how to be a girlfriend, learn how to be, in the position that you're in and not be a wife. That is one of the biggest things I think I've learned from relationships, is just being a girlfriend, having fun, just, doing little things here and there, not bringing the whole plate of food and cooking 5 meals a week. No. That was a point in my life. I'm not even gonna lie to you, but that's over. Yay. No. But that's just, those are just a little bit of the things that I've learned in relationships. Some of y'all have told me, Deja, talk about some of your experiences. Y'all, I am scarred. Okay. I am scarred. I'm trying to be more detailed with these experiences, but y'all gonna have to give me some time, because, ooh, Lord. Okay. The experiences that I have had are lethal, in many different shapes, ways, and forms. So I will give you as much detail as possible, and I will try my best on giving more of my stories going forward. But we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. We're gonna have that time. But yeah, some of y'all was getting on me. Y'all were getting on me. We need more details. We need more stories. I said, okay, all right, we're gonna get there. You gotta give me some time. But and so one of the next questions you want to write down is, what should you expect? What should you expect from a relationship? And some of the things that I should expect I should expect to be able, for someone not to destroy what I've worked so hard to build inside of me. When you have somebody that can come in and tear down your complete foundation and rebuild it, that is not the man. Because they're supposed to be adding to you, adding windows, adding a door, adding a sprinkler system to your already beautiful yard, not crushing the foundation and building new ones. No. So something that I'd expect is them not to destroy what I've worked so hard to build inside of me. Another thing is, for what I should expect is, I want them to see me as their spouse and not the savior. Throughout my relationships, I have always been the savior. I have always, figured it out for them. I've always, and that's just my heart, and I'll never take it back. But when you're going into something that you should expect, I expect, to be someone's spouse and not their savior. A lot of women go through that. They're always the savior, the backup, the net, if you will, to all of the problems. And it'd be nice to be saved sometimes. And so, that's one of the things that I put on my list of what I should expect. Another thing is, be generous. That's what I put on mine. Be generous. Gift your time, and have peace in the home. When you invite somebody over, they should feel so comfortable that they want to fall asleep. So in my what should you expect in a relationship, I just to put be generous and gift your time. And another thing is, and this is for all of y'all, and this is just to help you kind of when you're creating this list, when you're getting ready for your relationship and what you want and things like that. One of the things is, when you have a vision and a purpose of something that God wants you to do and it's planted in your heart, after you remember that vision, make sure that man can run with you and keep up. You never want to stop and have to turn around and wait for him to catch up to you, or wait or pick him up and say, hey, let's go. You should always be running 100 miles a second together, and and make sure he can truly keep up with you. I mean, we might trip and fall for a second, but we getting back up and getting back to the speed that we were originally running at. But never turn around for somebody and wait. So that's one thing that I would put on there, is make sure he can run with you and keep up. More than anything, keep up. And one of the biggest things is, that I put on my thing is, if you don't believe it, and if you don't believe that vision is going to happen, and if you don't believe that you can add to your spouse's vision, your eyes will be blind to it, and it won't go anywhere, because you refuse to see it for yourself. And so you truly have to believe it when God gives you these visions, even if they seem so big. Know that you can do it, and know that it is possible. And as long as you do that, your eyes won't be blind to it, and you'll be able to see the extent of the steps that God wants you to take to get there. And so that's one of the questions that I want you to write down when you are writing that list, is what should you expect when it comes to, your relationship. And diving into the men's panel, and you could put this on like the next page, next to your list of things that you wrote down about your relationships. But this is where the juicy part gets good. So during the What He Said panel, with women involved, there was different guys, like one of them was Devon Franklin, and of course TD Jakes, and a few other men, and I apologize, I don't remember their names, but they were great. But some of the things to talk about was men's trauma. And women, if you all have been through relationships and had to carry men through some difficult times, when they needed somebody to lean on and to talk to, that some of these traumas go so deep that it actually ends up sometimes trickling into a relationship to where we have no control of it, and we either lose that man because of the trauma that they haven't dealt with, or they end up taking that trauma out on us. And it could just be really very, 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 very heavy. And many men, especially Black men today, are dealing with so much trauma, and they're not sure how to express it. And so there is a solution for this, which I thought was amazing. So one of the solutions to helping your spouse and the guy that you want to marry, or your husband, dealing with this situation, or your son, honestly, too, as well, is, digging into it, but being cautious, because, for men, when we're asking them questions, it takes them longer to answer. And so we have to give them time to answer, because if they don't process as fast as we do. Literally, they just don't. So, we can have an answer to a question. Oh, what do you want? Oh, blah, 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 blah. Men, it's like, because there's 3 questions in one question, and they're trying to figure out how to answer each question. But give them some time. And that was a little long-winded, but give them some time. So when you're trying to dig into men's trauma, the first thing you want to do is, ask questions, but don't make statements. And that can be hard for us women to do, just because, we, in a way, we always feel like we have the solution to something. And in a way, even though it's not the solution, we'll say, we'll make a statement like, oh yeah, we can get through this. We can do it. But it's like, we're not addressing their feeling of what they're feeling at that moment, if that makes sense. But ask questions and don't make statements. And you want to give them time to answer the question, and don't interrupt them, because a lot of times it'll mess with their thought and then they'll forget. And then it'll take them another month to answer your question because they have to process it, because they don't process as fast as we do. So it's important when they are ready to answer that question that we do not interrupt them and let them finish. And if it takes a month for that man to answer the question, don't attack his answer when he is responding to the questions about his trauma. Don't attack his answer. Because if you attack his answer, one, it makes him, of course, not want to answer, and it'll make it more difficult for him to open up later on with other things. And after he gives you an answer to that question, ask another question instead of making a statement or wrapping it up with a bow. Ask another question. And it'll help them to open up and go a little bit deeper and feel more comfortable, because they're not pressured to answer immediately. And it also can help them through it when they are processing these things on their own. And so another thing that they talked about in the What Is He Said men's panel was, recognizing a developing man versus a toxic man, because they look similar. And this is a huge one because, a developing man versus a toxic man. A developing man learns through scenarios and situations and applies what they've learned and changed it. A toxic man goes through the same cycle over and over and over again, but in new ways. So it's very important that you really have a discerning eye to be able to distinguish between the two, because they both can look sexy and handsome and all this stuff, but it can be a little harder each time, especially when the toxic man has learned ways that they keep going in the same circle, but now they're going in the circle finessing, making it look good, dancing like Chris Brown and Usher in a circle. And it's fascinating, and all the women are fascinated, and they're like, oh my gosh, but it's the same cycle over and over again. He just made it look good. So we have to distinguish between the toxic man and the developing man, because the developing man will go on that merry-go-round one time and go, this thing isn't stopping, and get off. So that's one of the things that they talked about. And one of the other things they talked about was stop dating potential and start dating the fruit. And realizing, are they planting seed or are they not? And a lot of times God can show us glimpses of people, and we have an honor to be able to see their purpose at the end and what are their hard work, where it's going to lay them and get them to. And so we can go, oh my gosh, wow, that man has so much going for him. I want to help him get there. I want to be his helpmate. I can give him ideas. I can create his business label for him. Because us as women, as helpmates, we want to do everything to be able to ensure that the man can lead. So we give him all the tools that he needs so that we are able to, function in our femininity as queens of the kingdom, in God's kingdom, and have the men to be able to function in their kingship in the kingdom of God. And so we're going to do everything, but we get so eager that we don't give the man a chance to lead and do it themselves, and then ask us, hey, what do you think about this? And give them time to be able to say, I need my helpmate, instead of here, because then they won't realize the advantage of you. And so, when we get so excited, we date potential, and that man becomes a potential man instead of a doer of a man, because now they're leaning on us to do everything. Not that they want to, but because, that's where all the inspiration comes from. So if you're not doing something for them, they're stuck and they're standing still, not realizing that they're not moving. And so in a way, we end up enabling them. And I've been through that personally, so I know. And so we have to give them time to be able to see us as helpmates and not present ourselves as helpmates, if that makes sense. And so, so start dating the fruit. The fruit of a man can be seen through, how his work ethic, how he is in his quiet time, how he tithes, answering and asking questions in the beginning so that you're not surprised later. That's a big one, and you'll know because you will see the development of the seeds that he has planted. You'll see the fruit on the trees. You'll see the fruit growing in different places of his life. One of the big places is with his family. And one of the biggest places is, in his home for himself. You'll see, where is your fruit planted? His group of friends, the type of fruit that is attached to him through his friends. You'll be able to see, what he's really about, because friends can tell a lot about a person. And so another thing they talked about on the panel was, does that man want to be serviced, or does that man want to be served? And that is really, really deep, because we can get to an area where that man just wants you to cook. He wants you to clean. He wants you to do everything that makes him feel like a man, but doesn't want to be a man when it comes to you. And so we have to distinguish between a man who wants to be serviced and a man who wants to be served, meaning they recognize our position as helpmates and they do so accordingly in the appropriate manner. Because you have to remember, as a girlfriend, you cannot function at the level of helpmate that you wish to. There's levels to this. So learning how to, pray for him and cover him at home when you're by yourself, that's being a helpmate. That's something that you can do as a girlfriend that, is not stepping on any toes at the moment because you're not married, giving him an idea when he asks for it, but allowing him to, extend that idea and do more, but just kind of giving him a little push, little subtle things like that, that will progress him, in his leadership. And that man recognizing that you are a girlfriend at the moment, so you can't be as large of a helpmate like you want to be. And he knows that, and so him knowing that he is being served and knowing the capacity at what level he can be served until he decides to make a decision to advance that service by being engaged in marrying you. So it's important that a man knows whether or not he wants to be serviced or served. And then, another thing, a big one that they talked about is, has he ever finished anything? Or does he have a list of beginnings with no endings and he's just trying to add you to the list? And many of us have been through that. I have been through that. And a lot of men, they get so wrapped up in their careers. They get so wrapped up in trying to make it and trying to get the money that marriage is at the back of their mind and the last thing on their list. And so, and they could have a lot of things progressed in their life towards their career, but you could still be on the end of that list. And if you are on the end of that list of priorities, and he doesn't know how to manage and balance those priorities that include you, then he's not the one. And, and also a man could have everything started. So he could have a spurt idea here. Oh my gosh, I want to create a business. Oh my gosh, I want to open a gym. Oh my gosh, I want to create a game. Oh my gosh, and then there's all these I wannas, and there's a room with a game system, a room with cords everywhere, a room with bill pay books and all this stuff, all these a sign that has a business name on it, but it's just sitting in the corner, and it's just a chaotic, unorganized mess of all these beginnings, which, by the way, if you do see that, it's a red flag. That's never, but seeing all of that, it makes you go, okay, he started all these things. They're great ideas. And it could be attractive for a woman to go, oh my gosh, wow, he's so creative. He has all these ideas. These are amazing things. Like I can help with that. I can help with that. Oh, that sign. Oh my gosh, we can make that so much nicer. We can put it, Do not start being a helpmate in those type of situations to where you are literally finishing every idea and every leadership thing that he has put out, because that is not your job. And that is not the type of helpmate that you should be being in those type of situations, because that man is a red flag. And if he cannot finish anything that he started, you'll be waiting for a ring your entire life. Okay? And drained and bitter because you finished everything for him, and now your pride is in the way and you're taking ownership of everything because you did it all. So let's avoid that, man. Let's avoid that, man. I'm giving y'all the tea tonight. Let's avoid that, man. And one of the things they also talked about marriage on the What He Said men's panel. And so one of the things they talked about in marriage was you cannot find balance, and you don't find balance in the first 3 years of marriage. And so the first 3 years of marriage are the hardest, and you really have to kind of really deal with each other that first 3 years and learn, and expect that the challenges are coming, but knowing that you guys are going to get over it. But it's just going to take time, and to hunker down in the midst of that time, and they also discussed, confidence builds with the accomplishments that you build. And so when you are being a helpmate and your man is being the leader, and you're accomplishing all these things together and you're building things together, it makes you closer, it makes you more attracted to them, and it builds your confidence in them as in their positions as a helpmate for you and as a leader for them. You're confident in them. You start to trust their decisions. You start to trust what they're able to do because of the accomplishments that you're making together and the positions that you're filling that are being filled well. So, they say confidence builds with the accomplishments that you build. And another thing that they mentioned is if he never gets around to you, and I'm talking about marriage right now, but it can also apply in your relationship as a girlfriend as well. But it says, he said they were like, if he never gets around to you on his list, he doesn't care. So if you are that whole week, you've had a stressful week, right? You're cleaning up, the house is spotless, you've cooked, you've got your nails done, you've got your hair done, you look good, you are stressed out completely. And you just want to spend time with him. You want to go out on a date. You don't want to plan that date. First of all, women, you should never be planning dates. That's number one. So put down your list. He should know how to plan a date and to tell you what time to be ready and not where do you want to eat. And no, you're wearing this. This is where we're going. Be ready by this time, etc. And yes, we're there now. So put down your list when it comes to what I should be looking for. But yeah, if you're wanting to go on that date and you've worked hard and you're expecting that out of your husband to be able to spoil you and take care of you and to make you feel special out of everything that you've done throughout that week, and he never gets to you, or you ask him to do the laundry or something that just kind of takes the weight off your plate for a second and it never gets done, that's a problem. And so, and it needs to be addressed. And if a man finishes alone, and this one hit me because I was like, wow, if a man finishes alone, he's selfish. Everyone around him should rise and look at the fruit on how he finishes. If a man finishes alone, he's selfish. Everyone around him should look at the fruit on how he finishes. So when you are trying to find a spouse and you are trying to figure out if that is your husband or not, if he finishes everything alone, if he gets that business by himself, if he makes those investments by himself, if he, gets this beautiful home, has a huge family, but they're not there, or they're nowhere to be seen, and he is finishing all these things by himself, he's a selfish man, because there should be people with him that he's bringing. Even if it's 1 to 2 people, there should be somebody around him that is also rising as well, because when you are planting seed, right, and that man has planted a seed for a business, planted a seed for investments, planted a seed for the church, and it starts to grow into a tree, it doesn't just produce one piece of fruit. You get what I'm saying? So if a man finishes alone with nobody, he's selfish. And so when you're looking for that spouse, look at the fruit on how he finishes those things. And that will tell you a lot about that man. And the last thing that they talked about was, don't confuse talent with character. Don't confuse talent with character. And a lot of times, we think, oh my gosh, this person is so attractive. He does so well at his career. He's so detailed. He's so meticulous about certain things. And I love that. But, and we start to look at the bedazzles on him and how shiny everything looks. But we don't realize that man could be a complete jerk. Or that man, no matter how good he is at his talent, if he doesn't carry it well, that talent means nothing. Because you want a humble man. You want somebody who is confident in themselves, somebody who knows who they are and can carry themselves just as well as they carry that talent in that career. And if they can't carry both well, then drop him. And that's just the T on the T. Drop him. Because, that is not something, that you should want. And the most attractive thing is somebody who can move in silence, but move in a way that everything is just literally like a moonwalk. That's how I see it in my head, is the guy doing a moonwalk. Everything is so smooth and to the point and to the T, and it's crisp and clear and clean. No mistakes, when it comes to the balance of how he carries himself and everything around him. It should be like a moonwalk. So that is the tea on that, on some of the things that happened at the Woman Evolve Conference and some of the things that we talked about. It was really, 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 really good. And I knew this was going to be a long one tonight because it is our anniversary. It was September 25th. So happy anniversary, Ellipsis Podcast. And thank you guys for rocking with me for a whole year. This has been a journey. It definitely has had its ups and downs. But we are continuing to fly. We are continuing to flourish. And just grow this little podcast, y'all. This is my baby. I have carried this in my heart for years, and I thought I needed all the bells and whistles. And girl, I realized I did not need any of that. And we're doing just fine. And so, I always say it's not about how many listeners. It's not about how many, followers that we can get. It's just, am I pouring into you? Am I giving you the tools and the seeds that you need to be able to, fly in your life and develop the things that God has for you? If I can help do that, then that is the most valuable and most expensive thing that I could ask for when it comes to this podcast. So I hope you guys know that I love you with all my heart and that I am so grateful for each and every one of you. And every time each of you subscribe, even if it's one, I'm like, oh my gosh, yay. It's so exciting for me. And I appreciate the little things. So I appreciate you, and you guys are a big part of why I do this every week. And so we're going to continue rocking together. We're going to continue to fly. And I have so many more new things coming at you. We're going to get to the visuals pretty soon. Bear with me, y'all, because y'all know me. The ones who know me and know we're going to get there with the visuals. Okay. Y'all just, I'm introverted sometimes. So, so y'all got to give me a second. But I love you. Thank you for rocking with me. And cheers to year two. And so you have been listening to the Ellipsis Podcast with Deja Terry. I love you guys so much, and I hope you have an amazing night. And I'll catch you in the next one. Good night.